Have you ever been known by any other names, Mr. Lau?
No.
Okay. Can you tell me where you were born?
I born in the 1st December in the 79.
In what? Where?
In the Darwin.
In Darwin.
Yeah.
Okay. So is English your first language?
I can speak English and Mandarin.
Okay, because you speak English with an accent that I would not normally associate with somebody born in Australia.
Yeah.
Do you have any comment about that?
Because most time in my family, I speaking for the Chinese. It's my problem.
All right. Is that the first passport that you've had?
Yes.
Okay. We have received information that says that this passport may have been fraudulently obtained.
I got a passport card. How many times I can fly before I get this one? You can check.
Oh yeah, frequent flyer points. Yeah.
Yeah, for the plastic one.
Mark may have a great credit rating, but it's his identity that's in question.
Okay. None of these documents, though, none of these predate the issue of this passport. And what I'm interested in is verification of you as an Australian before these identification documents were issued.
His passport is only 2 years old, and he doesn't talk like a man who's lived in Australia his whole life.
This is no fair for me, man. I got everything in here. I can't guarantee my... How can I carry something proof my before the day?
It's time to get personal.
What was the name of the school you went to?
Hi, Lalam Primary School.
Can you spell that for me?
Lalam. In Canberra, called Lalam Primary School.
In Canberra?
Yeah.
Okay, so when did you move from Darwin to Canberra?
Oh, it's my around 3 years old age, something like that.
When you were about 3 years old?
Yeah.
What was your high school?
Yeah, Lalam High School.
I'll get you to write that for me as well, please. I'm sorry, I'm having some trouble understanding the spelling. Lilam.
Yeah, that's near Dixon.
Okay, but you should be able to write it.
I can't remember the school name.
You can't remember the school name? What was the address that you lived in Canberra?
I live in the 31 Lichen Street.
Lichen Street?
Lichen Street.
L-I...
L-E-L-G-E-R.
I'm sorry, please. For what period would you say during your childhood your parents were living full-time in Australia?
I think when I'm from year 1 to year 7.
Year 1 to year 7?
Yeah.
And then
kindergarten.
And what happened after that?
After that, I just like my father always go traveling around.
So you live with your mum?
Yeah.
So your father left Australia about 2 years ago?
Yeah.
And he went to France?
Yeah.
I'm just going to ask one of my colleagues to do something for me and then I'll come back. Can I get a movement check done, please?
It's rubbish. Totally rubbish. Every year I pay the million tax for this bloody shit.
This is his father. He's supposed to have been an Australian citizen, went 2 years ago to France, born in 1950, Lao. That's his mother, surnamed Lee, L-I. Can you let me know when you're done?
Yeah.
Thanks.
While Mark's story gets checked out, the questions continue.
How did you actually obtain this passport? How did you get it?
I just applied in the post office.
And what did you have to send them?
I sent him driver license, medical card, and the birth certificate.
How did you get the birth certificate?
From my mom.
But mate, you said that your parents left Australia 2 years ago. You got this passport 1.5 years ago. How did you get the birth certificate from your mother? So you didn't get it from your mum, you already had it, is what you're telling me.
My mom.
No record for either.
Okay. I didn't think there would be. Mr. Lau, there's no record of your parents by that name leaving Australia at the time that you said. There's no record, in fact, of your parents at all on our departmental systems. Can you explain that to me?
I don't know.
Why would your parents not appear on our systems?
I don't know.
They travelled as normal passengers, you said 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Lived here for at least 15 years?
Yes.
Your father used to spend a lot of time going to Hong Kong or overseas, you said, for business?
I don't know.
I don't think you do, Mr. Lau, because I don't think you're telling me the truth.
Can I go outside for smoking?
No, you can't. Not at this stage. There's nowhere in the airport where we're permitted to smoke.
Mark is still trying to prove that he is the Mark Lau, born in Darwin in 1979 and raised in Canberra.
Just one more thing is my first sentence. I give you whatever.
I can't. Not right now.
If you're holding me 48 hours, I count in the 48 hours time.
Well, if we ended up holding you because we're not satisfied as to your identity or your immigration status, you would go to the Immigration Detention Centre at Villawood, where you could smoke. But in the meantime, Mr. Lau, and I'll call you that for the moment because I don't know who you really are, I suggest you think very carefully about your position, and I think you should think very carefully about whether or not you should cooperate with these inquiries. Interview suspended at 11:35. His reaction seems to be a little bit, do what you want with me or whatever, but you can get that reaction as a bluff. So no, I'm not reading too much into his behaviour at the moment, but I am very concerned about the way he can't speak with any familiarity about places from his childhood that he should be intimate with. Have you voted in Australia?
No.
Why not?
What mean? I don't understand what this one.
Okay. Most Australian citizens
Yeah.
would understand that voting in this country is compulsory
Yeah.
and that you have been 18 years of age, according to this passport,
Yeah.
before the last federal election.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So I'm asking you, did you vote?
I
You didn't vote.
What mean what?
Mr. Lau, I must tell you, I have a lot of problems in believing that you've spent all your life in Australia and that you were born and educated here. I believe that you are not speaking English like a native-born Australian, and I don't believe that you're telling me the truth about your birthplace and your citizenship. The street name that you gave me
Yeah.
doesn't exist. We've just gone on the internet and had a look at the street map, and it doesn't exist.
Like a street in Dangna.
You wrote Liga Street
In Dangna.
in where?
In Dangna.
Dunga,
Dangna.
next to Dixon.
Next to Dixon.
How do you spell Dunga?
Downer, I think.
Downer.
Yeah,
Right,
Downer
Downer.
Street.
So you would have done most of your shopping in Dixon, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. What sort of shops do we have in Dixon?
Dixon got one called Woolworths, one large Woolworths, one post office, and my college is just like called one big garden, football court. After football court is my college, and past the main Northbury Avenue, past road is Laland.
You talking about Lynham?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he certainly has a detailed knowledge of the neighbourhood. This might all be an unfortunate mistake.
So what's the bus company that you used to catch when you were a kid?
No, Canada only got one bus company.
What's that one?
It's just called bus company. Canada only got one bus company.
But what's the name of the bus company? Every kid in Canberra knows it.
Action.
Action? Yeah.
Action bus, I think.
Okay. The other thing I wanted to say, Mr. Lau, while we're doing this, is this: we've just done a more thorough search of our systems,
Yeah.
and your parents don't exist, according to us.
You can check, okay?
That's what I'm trying to do. But the trouble is, the things we found are not helping me very much.
Okay.
How long have you been out of Australia for?
No, I born here, I tell you.
Like, how long were you out this trip?
Actually, it's over a month.
Only a month.
Could I speak to somebody who deals with Medicare fraud, please? He is travelling on an Australian passport, but we're not so sure if he is an Australian. And one of the things he's got is a Medicare card. And I was wondering if you'd be able to answer this question, basically, whether or not he had a prior Medicare card to this one.
If Mark's Medicare history predates the passport
Bloody country.
and proves that he is Mark Lau, he'll be allowed in.
Right.
If not, he may be refused entry.
Now, I've just sent a fax to the Health Insurance Commission about your Medicare card. How long have you had your Medicare card?
This one, I lost the one. I just replaced a new one.
Yeah, this is a new one, huh?
Yes.
And you had one before that?
Yes.
And you had one before that?
Yeah.
How many Medicare cards have you had?
Before I come with family one.
Yeah, you're on the family one.
Yeah, I just a separate one.
So is this your first separate one? Second separate one. Okay. The problem that we have still is that we still can't identify your parents from any departmental system.
Okay.
That's a big problem, huh?
Oh, but if you can find the medical, I can go in there.
Sorry?
If medical son tell the all the history, I can go in there.
Well, it depends what they tell me.
Okay.
I'm trying to chase up Medicare. We are waiting for a response on a fax just sent regarding a passenger in immigration clearance. I'd appreciate it if you could give us a call either way within the next few minutes. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Lau, sorry to keep you. What do you think the Health Insurance Commission's going to tell me?
I don't know. You know what medical can tell this guy how are your medical?
Well, I'm asking you. I've asked them to give me a history of your Medicare.
Yeah, he will be
So what do you think they'll tell me?
He sent the history to you. You understand? He will tell my real history, man.
I've asked Medicare to tell me when you got your previous cards and who your cards were with, because I can't find any record of your parents. Now, what if they can't find any record of your parents either? Bottom line is, we have information from the Federal Police to say that the passport was fraudulently obtained. He's maintaining that it wasn't, that he obtained it through the use of his own driver's licence and birth certificate.
And this is his first passport, isn't it?
This is his first passport, never had one before. And all the identification that he has is post the passport. So this entire identity, I believe, has been manufactured on the basis of this passport as a starting point.
I know.
And he's got very poor language skills for an Australian educated person. I think that in the light of everything we've got, that we have no choice but to refuse him entry and say we can't be satisfied he complies with 166, because I cannot be satisfied he's this individual.
No.
The long-awaited fax has arrived. Will it change everything? The fax is not good news for Mark. His current Medicare card is the only card on record, and it was issued after his passport.
Okay, Mr. Lau, or Mark, or whatever, we've reached a decision. The decision is that on the basis of the information that you have given me today, and on the basis of the information that we've received from other agencies, we are not satisfied that you are an Australian citizen, Mark Lau, born in Darwin in 1979. I believe that you are another person, and are therefore formally refused immigration clearance to Australia. And that means I am going to detain you pursuant to Section 189 of the Migration Act. You will be held in immigration custody pending determination of your correct identity and visa status. Do you understand what I've just said?
I understand.
Okay, do you have any questions that you'd like to ask me at this point?
At this point, I want to see my solicitor.
Okay.
How can you approve? I'm not born in Australia.
The question is not proof, the question is reasonable belief. Okay? We don't believe that you are an Australian citizen.
Okay.
And where we're at is that you are now refused entry and you are now in immigration custody. Arrangements will be made for your transport from the airport. And that would be to the Immigration Detention Centre in all likelihood. Interview suspended at 12:55.
Mark was interviewed by the Australian Federal Police. He was charged with obtaining an Australian passport using a false birth certificate. Mark's real name is Hao Liu. Hao, a Chinese citizen, was fined $1,000 and given a 5-month suspended jail sentence. Hao returned to China and is subject to a 3-year exclusion period from Australia.
I've been to plane for the past 2 days. I'm fucking tired. Now I have to wait here in the chair.
This gentleman has arrived on an Italian passport. Speaking to him, our officer realised that he's not a native Italian speaker. The question is now, what is his nationality?
I can't chill out until they tell me whatever is going to happen.
I have a number of concerns about this passport. The first one is we have some stamps in his passport that indicate he entered and left Melbourne Airport in 1999. We have no record of that on our systems, which sets alarm bells ringing. And looking at these stamps, I'm not satisfied that they're genuine. I'm going to have to get an expert to have a look at this a little later to confirm my opinion. We've got some issues with this chap.
If this passport isn't his, then the question is, who is he? Is he a security threat? Is he coming to work illegally? Or is he what we call a fugitive from justice? Has he committed a crime in another country?
And he wants to speak in English. Notice his ID code. Issued in 2 different years and it's the same photograph.
Yeah.
So this one was supposed to be issued in 2000 and this one was issued a year before in 99. Why would you still have the same passport photograph?
Yeah.
There. Is his contact book. Very few of the names appear to be Italian. Hello, my name's Peter Davis. You're Emmanuel? Nice to meet you, huh? This officer's name is Deepak. He's a trainee down here at the airport. The first thing that we wanted to ask you about is you don't actually have a visa to Australia. Can you explain why you don't have a visa?
Because you don't usually get a visa.
Everybody needs a visa to come to Australia.
I was here once before as well. I didn't need a visa.
Well, that's something I wanted to talk to you about as well. And where did you board the aircraft?
Aircraft
Yeah.
from Denmark.
How long were you in Denmark for?
2 days.
Why?
Just to look around.
You said that you've been to Australia before. When did you come to Australia before?
I was in 99.
Why?
To see the country.
And how long were you here for?
20 days.
20 days. And what airport did you come in?
Melbourne.
Melbourne. And where did you go out?
Where?
Where?
Melbourne.
Melbourne. Well, the thing is, Mr. Quatty, we don't have any record of you arriving or departing on this passport. Nobody's ever used this passport to come to Australia before, and those stamps are fake.
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 Can't be fake.
They're the wrong shape for a start.
It's not a forge.
I think it is.
I think not.
The bottom line is, if this passport is a forgery, and I think it is, okay, then I don't know who you are, and I don't know what nationality you are, but I believe my officer when he tells me that you can't speak Italian properly.
I do speak Italian, I told him, but I prefer to talk in English.
Yes, but he said you speak Italian like a person who has learnt the language.
No.
No? Okay. Where were you born?
Rome.
In
He's
Rome.
got some English,
And what are your parents?
smattering or more of Italian. We think he could be Albanian.
Who were you going to see here?
Nobody.
Nobody. What were you going to do here?
Just look around.
How long for?
Not a month, because at the 4th I start work again.
In Albania, the TV does not have subtitles, and major programs, or most of the programs, are in English and Italian. So even people with little education have those languages. He really fits the profile for us, but we'll see what else he will tell us.
Have you booked any tours? Do you know what you're going to see? Do you know what you're going to do here?
Well, in a month's time, obviously, I got time enough to look around.
Yeah, but you've got no plans. People don't generally get on a plane and come to another country for a holiday without any idea of what they're going to do. How much money did you bring with you?
I go 700 quid.
700?
Euros.
700 euros won't get you very far.
Of course not.
No. Did you bring traveller's checks or anything like that?
I left in a hurry, so I forgot everything back.
Why did you leave in such a hurry? It's just a holiday.
I know it's holiday.
So why did you leave in such a hurry?
Just left.
I'm going to get an expert to have a look at this passport,
Okay.
but there's some serious problems with it, and until those problems are resolved, you might find yourself in a situation where you won't be granted entry to Australia today.
I won't.
No.
What about all the money which I spend on?
Okay, how did you get that? How did you get it?
Passport.
Tell me how you got it. With the passport?
Yeah.
At the same time?
Yeah, at the same time.
Right, they were issued in 2 different years. This passport photograph is the same as the one in there. Yeah, I know you got them at the same time because you paid for them. You didn't get them from the Italian authorities. I don't think you are Emmanuel Quatty. I think you are somebody else.
Nope.
I think you are not an Italian citizen. I think you're something else. Interview suspended at 7:05. I feel like he's lying to me. I don't know his motives, I don't know his reason, but I don't think he's telling me the truth.
Passport is real. Because if it's false one, I wouldn't be here.
He's still saying it's real, and he's saying you can believe what you
He
want.
has to, because I'm sure he's invested a lot of time and effort.
It cost him money.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
It would have cost him heaps.
Yeah, I asked him how much it cost, and he said he just got it through the normal processes. Yeah, the normal people smuggling processes.
Yeah.
Dave, we got a passenger downstairs. I'd like you to look at his passport if you don't mind. The guy is not being particularly cooperative, and I don't think I'm going to get any information out of him, so I'm relying on the document.
Yeah, no problems. Just leave with us and I'll give you a call.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
I got the plane from Denmark to here. Nobody told me anything. So when I get here, they say it's false.
It's looking quite good actually. I can't see any damage there at all. No evidence there's been substituted or used for the second time.
If I get told by an expert document examiner that his document is genuine, then I'll go in there with an open mind. I think if he was a genuine visitor and I'd just had that conversation with him that I'd had, he'd be a little bit more outraged and a little bit more nervous than he is at the moment.
I feel miserable. Feel like not human.
At immigration, the moment of truth has arrived for Peter and Emmanuel.
Did they find anything out?
2 Aussie stamps, the Melbourne ones. Yeah, they're both counterfeit. The pages are all counterfeit. The watermark's counterfeit. I've also checked around the photograph as well. There's no evidence there's been substituted or used for the second time.
Okay,
The
yeah.
actual page and the whole passport is counterfeit, from cover right through to the back cover.
Okay, interview resumed at 8:25. Okay, Emmanuel, I'll call you that for the sake of convenience, but we've just had an expert in document examination look at your passport, and they have confirmed what I believed, and that is that your passport is a forgery. A forgery. Okay? What do you have to say about that?
You sure it's a forgery?
Yes. I wouldn't tell you it was if it wasn't.
Maybe.
So many people who come to Australia with dodgy documents have basically purchased them, organised them, or been given them for work purposes.
The Italian passport we are seizing because it is forged, and will not be seizing it, and it will not be returned to you.
We think he's Albanian. He won't be prosecuted, and he won't be prosecuted because there really is no point to it. What we're after is a quick turnaround. This sends a really strong message to people traffickers, people who organise these sorts of documents. You can't even get past the border.
No charges, but the man will be sent back to Europe.
Just spoke to Singapore Airlines. They can get him out on the 1 o'clock flight. Could go all the way through to Copenhagen, but certainly Singapore at this stage.
Fantastic.
I don't think that I'll be coming here again. For sure not.
Singapore Airlines was fined $5,000 for flying the passenger to Australia without a visa.
Fake cards they've come down for, won't they? Not
Officers
charging.
have found some suspicious-looking credit cards in the luggage of a passenger who arrived from China.
Yeah, but look, that doesn't even move. The wing's supposed to move.
Yeah, that's pretty ordinary, isn't it? We're going to leave it.
And that hologram is supposed to change colour.
But I want to get going on this. I want to get him in the room and I want to start it. Okay, Pete, let's move him.
Mr. Chong is taken away from the hall to be questioned further.
I think all these are all fake counterfeit credit cards. So far, I think he said that he bought them in a pub. 14. So, say each one of them's got 10,000 on it. There's $140,000 worth of stuff they could rip off.
Credit card fraud costs Australia close to $200 million a year.
We have a gentleman down here of CX101, Hong Kong passport, surname of Chong, C-H-O-N-G. What he's got is 14 look like counterfeit credit cards. He's got Visa and MasterCard and a couple of others. He's basically said that he bought them in a pub.
And it seems Mr. Chong may not be travelling alone. Earlier, officers searched another suspicious passenger.
This guy this morning had a couple of walkie-talkies in his bag. Couldn't explain it. So he's been waiting outside all morning. He's since met up with 2 others. We're not sure whether they've been searched or not. And it looks like when they've utilised their mobile outside, his has rung, so they could be waiting for him.
He's got 3 numbers on his phone, that's it.
Customs have been keeping an eye on the men all morning, suspecting there's a connection between them. And those mobile phone calls have given them the link they need to make a move.
All right, you've got 1, 2. I'll go with you.
You know what they look like? All right, well, Rob and I will walk out this way, and we'll just start walking down that way. Yeah, you go first. Yeah.
Just why are these men so desperately trying to contact our credit card fraudster?
We'll have to go the other end. Take a couple up there. Just only got these 2. Shush, shush.
Anxious, nervous, really wanting to get out of the airport and away, but obviously waiting for their 4th friend. They got more nervous and more anxious as they realised his flight had landed and he wasn't coming out, so that's when we made a move to go and get them.
One of the men, Mr. Leong, is taken straight into an interview room for questioning.
Why not?
While the other 2 men are questioned outside.
Why didn't your friend come and pick you up?
Maybe working.
Maybe working?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Need to work.
So he didn't tell you he'd be working?
So what's the problem? You just
just asking
just
questions.
tourists. We
Just
are just
asking
tourists.
questions. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. So just asking questions, that's all. Just to make sure you are tourists.
Okay.
It's a slow process, but inside, officers have struck gold.
This is a fake This is a counterfeit Hong Kong passport in the same name of the 30 counterfeit credit cards we have in the room there. Basically, this one was very easy to pick up.
Not only is Mr. Leong carrying a fake passport, he's also got a stash of fake credit cards, just like his associate, Mr. Chong.
This second gentleman will be up on criminal charges, definitely. We're going to call the Australian Federal Police back to take the second gentleman. And we have two now which will be detained.
But Customs still has concerns about the other two men.
Aaron, when you go out, can you explain that they've been implemented now criminally and not just immigration problem?
What we're thinking at the moment is they're all connected with the cards, but immigration also feel that it's something bigger to this, just through their movements and what they've done.
So now they are referred to immigration.
My friend, can you come with me? Immigration wants to speak to you.
Because of their association with Mr. Leong and Mr. Chong, the two men were detained by immigration, refused entry and sent back to Hong Kong. Mr. Leong and Mr. Chong were each in possession of 35 fake credit cards with an estimated street value of $280,000 and each had a counterfeit passport. They both pleaded guilty and have been sentenced to 15 months imprisonment. At Sydney Airport, Daryl has been stopped at arrivals.
Do I look like a drug pusher or...?
Well, looks can be deceiving. No, look, most people who actually carry narcotics don't have ponytails and that sort of stuff.
The problem is his passport. While immigration takes a closer look, Daryl claims it's just water damaged.
It was in the car. It slipped out, man. It slipped under the seat. I didn't see it.
Oh,
I didn't realise it, and it rained in.
Yeah, okay.
Because he had his window smashed from somebody breaking in, and the whole thing was flooded, and that's why it looks like that.
What we found on this is that there are breaks in the security features that are printed on the lamina. On the adhesive side of the lamina, there is a security print. Once you lift that off the photo, it will break that security print.
Car seals leak, carpet gets wet, passport gets soaked. It's a plausible story, but the idea is why would you have the passport about your person when you're travelling in your own country?
Yeah, exactly.
Driving around with your mate.
The top right-hand corner, you can see the break is over the photograph.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then the bottom left.
It's not very good at all.
Yeah, the crown is just damaged.
The hard thing is, like, if this bloke's passport is false, he's very calm.
My name's Ross, I'm an immigration officer.
How you doing?
What I need to do, Daryl, is ask you some questions about your reason for coming to Australia.
Right.
Okay, would you like to follow me? Just bring your baggage with you.
Daryl's damaged passport has landed him in the hot seat.
The main issue that is in question here is the fact that your passport has been assessed as a passport that has been tampered with.
It's my original passport. It's just happened to get wet. It was left under the front seat of a car and the window was left open. Okay. That's what happened to it. It's me. You can see it as if you look clearly.
It is an offence under the Migration Act to provide false answers or misleading answers to an immigration officer.
I don't know what to say to that, because it's my passport.
What's the main purpose of you coming here?
Daryl says he's here to visit a long-lost friend.
We grew up together, we went to college together. That's how I met Guy.
You've never been here before?
No.
Daryl's having a tough time convincing Ross that he's just a tourist.
Do you have a contact telephone number for Guy?
Yes, I do.
Do you know any other persons in Australia?
No one.
The main issue that is in question here is the passport that has been presented by you for immigration clearance has been assessed as a passport that has been tampered with. And given that, it brings to question your identity.
Oh, okay.
Which is not unreasonable, is it?
No, it's not unreasonable at all, but I can't say how much that got it wet. But I've got my identity document here and my driver's license.
I do have those in my possession. Have you ever held another passport other than that passport you've been presented?
Never. Never, ever.
This passport was issued 23rd of March 01. On the back page, this is a replacement for passport issued at Pretoria 30 June 98, declared stolen. So the true holder of this passport lost his passport and subsequently got this. Because he's got these documents, right? These documents were obtained after
the
grant
passport was
of this
issued.
passport.
Daryl is falling apart, and so is his passport.
He reckons it got wet. Now, has it been wet?
Well, yeah, you can see there's...
I can see it's been...
The pages have been wet, it's subsequently dried. And you can see that the galoshes, the upper left-hand side of the photo, they've been severed. And when you go to the right-hand side, these galoshes have been severed as well.
Around the photograph, I can see some yellow. Is that glue?
Fresh glue on an old passport could mean the photo was swapped.
But we need to make absolutely certain that the
Exactly
passport
right.
is a dead document. Right, look at it.
If it is a forgery, it's a good one.
Damaging a passport with water is often done deliberately to disguise any fraudulent activity that may have taken place. Now, Daryl, I've had a good look at this passport and it is in very poor condition.
I know that. But it's my real passport.
I asked you in an earlier question whether you had ever had another passport issued to you.
Yeah, I did have one before this. It got lost.
Yeah, the answer you provided to that question was no, you hadn't.
No, this is my second British passport. Yeah, I think so. I'm sure it is my second one.
Have you ever had any problems with the police in South Africa?
Just depends what type of problems.
What was the answer to the question, do you have any criminal convictions? What's the answer you've provided?
Good no.
Is that a truthful answer?
Besides that answer, no.
No, it isn't, is it?
But it was years ago.
Okay.
So it would have fallen away.
Does that question indicate to you any period of time elapsed?
No, it doesn't.
Have you committed any offences which have required you to present in court to answer charges?
I don't know what... No, I don't know. I can't remember. Maybe a couple of... I don't know.
Have you got a good memory?
No.
Ross from immigration is finally getting to the truth. Daryl from South Africa has a criminal past.
So, after the age of 18, which you've told me about this incident of breaking into a showroom and removing furniture.
Yeah.
Have there been any other incidences where you have been taken to court and prosecuted?
It was so long ago, I can't remember. I was in hospital because my memories.
Why were you in hospital?
I was found OD'd on drugs, but I didn't take the drugs. Somebody had injected it into me while I was sleeping. Somebody tried to kill me. I think it was the ex-girlfriend. And I was in a coma, and I was on 7 machines keeping me alive.
What sort of drugs were injected into you?
I don't know, they never knew.
Have you ever been involved in situations where you've been prosecuted for criminal activity?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
Ross needs to determine if the offences are serious enough to prevent Daryl from entering Australia.
I suppose it sticks with you forever.
You want to tell me about those incidences, Daryl? If we send you back to South Africa, would the police be waiting for you?
No. Why? No one will be waiting
Well, you've given me...
except for my mother will have to come fetch me.
There's 2 issues that we have at hand here. You provide an incorrect answer on the passenger card, and you've also presented to a clearance officer a document that is not deemed to be a document suitable for immigration
Even
clearance.
though it's my real passport.
Well,
But anyway, let's go.
Yeah. Well, just sit down for a moment.
I want a cigarette now. Now I want a cigarette.
Take a seat,
because now I'm
please.
getting kicked out for nothing.
So I'm going to give you a notice of intent to cancel your visa.
This is what drives me mad because this is my real passport. It got wet.
All right.
And now all this is come off because it got wet.
Okay.
If Daryl's even a chance to get in, he'll have to come clean on his criminal past and hope Paul can verify his ID.
Would you be able to provide telephone number of any relatives that you may have in South Africa?
My mother.
Your mother? So we might be able to contact her?
Tell her I'm coming home.
He's given me his mother's phone number in South Africa and his sister's phone number. So I'm going to make a call to them just to satisfy ourselves because there is doubt about his identity because of the state of his passport.
Daryl has one chance only of getting in. Come clean on his police record.
And you have been convicted, is that correct?
Yeah, once or twice, I'm sure.
And hope Paul can verify his identity.
Can you give me your brother's name, please? The reason I'm asking is that his passport is in a bit of a state of disrepair.
What I've got here, Daryl, is a form which asks you questions about criminal convictions. Now, you've told me about 3 of them.
One for stealing furniture as a juvenile and 2 other minor offences committed years ago.
Maybe you can remember some more, eh?
Beg your pardon? It got wet.
How about we start with your name?
Yeah, I'd rather not put in any more forms here in this place.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'd rather just go home.
Did you see him off at Johannesburg Airport? And so at that time they had concerns about the passport, is that correct?
Is there any information that could be asked in this piece of paper here that could incriminate you further than what information that you've already provided has?
No. I've never harmed anybody, I've never done anything bad to anybody. It was just all my own doings. It's just get me on a plane and send me home.
Daryl's had enough, but he's in for a surprise.
We need to detain you in our immigration detention centre because there is not an available flight to South Africa today.
So what's that?
Would you be able to give us a physical description of what Daryl looks like, please? Long brown hair, yeah. Brown eyes, scar on face.
In jail?
No, it's a detention centre.
You're joking with me?
The information you've provided me is entirely consistent with what he's told us, and your description of him matches Daryl from what we see. So I'll just say this, that his chances of being allowed into Australia have markedly increased since I've spoken to you.
But it's far from over.
Have you ever committed an offence which has attracted a term of imprisonment, Daryl?
No, I've never been imprisonment.
Oh, well, so that's pretty much satisfied me that he's a genuine passport holder, because she's given an accurate physical description, the sister, of his appearance, and she even had knowledge of the condition of his passport because she said that his passport got wet at a friend's place.
Get me on a plane and send me home. I will see my friend when he comes to South Africa sometime.
Who's that guy?
Yeah.
The only thing now is that he's admitted that he's ticked no to criminal convictions on his passenger card. So I'll just question him about that and see what his convictions are. He did say that they were many years ago and he has no sentence of imprisonment.
Is he expecting you to meet with him?
Yeah, well, I'm sure he knows I'm not coming now. I'm sure he's phoned my mother and let her know that I'm stuck in immigration, so they'll know I'll be coming home.
Okay, well, we'll just have to wait until Paul comes back. He's got some other information that he wants to give you.
Now, if it turns out that his criminal convictions are not that serious, then there's every likelihood we'll clear him. He'll be allowed in.
At Sydney Airport, Daryl has dug his heels in.
Paul, he won't fill out that criminal declaration.
Okay, well, I better go and have a chat with him then.
Yeah, see if you can get something out of him, mate.
No worries. You know, I telephoned your sister. Yeah, and she verified everything regarding your physical appearance, the condition of your passport. Okay, so we're satisfied of your identity. That was the main reason that you were referred to us. Okay. Now the remaining issue is that you've ticked no to criminal conviction on the passenger card. What we need to do is assess what convictions that you have. So to the best of your recollection, it's very important that you write it down, okay? Now, if we're satisfied that the convictions don't enliven our Migration Act character provisions, okay, then we'll allow you in. See, if you refuse to provide any details, okay, then the inference is that maybe you're not writing it down because they're very serious criminal convictions.
No, yeah,
so,
I can.
But all we ask you to do, we're not going to use it against you because you say that the convictions occurred many years ago, Okay.
Long time when I was young.
Okay. All right.
This is, as far as I can remember, this is
great.
everything.
Thanks.
So it's old, I've changed.
There's now just one question remaining.
Why did you tick no?
Because I was scared. I was just,
All right.
you know.
Well, it's
not a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
To tick.
What I'm inclined to do today is exercise my discretion and not cancel your visa. And it's on the basis that
So I
the
can
convictions
stay.
will allow you in.
Thank you.
Okay? But in the future, when you travel into Australia, you need to correctly tick the boxes. You come out now.
Serious?
Yeah.
Not a good start to my vacation, is it?
The document that you presented is in atrocious condition, and it certainly brings reason for us to question the credibility of it.
It's just in bad condition, which I understand
It's
now.
appalling.
Yeah.
And seriously,
My
I
mother
would...
told me this before she left. She said, you can't have your passport looking like this. So I thought, you know, I'm sure it's going to be okay. She was right.
You should always believe your mother, I think.